Before getting into my story, I just want to say if you are a family member or loved one of the girl that passed away, I'm very sorry for your loss. And my family and I have been keeping your family in our prayers. And we hope for healing and we pray that your hearts find peace during this hard time. That being said, going forward, I will be sharing my story of what I experienced this day. I would just like to preface this day or this hike by saying when I normally hike, I will message my mom, my dad, my boyfriend, and I will tell them where I'm hiking, how long the hike lasts, what time I expect to be back. I will tell them what I'm wearing, what I have with me, and I will send them pictures of the cars that are in the parking lot, and I will describe any people that I see that might be getting ready to be on the trail. So here is where I texted my parents and let them know what trail I would be doing. I let them know what time I'll be done, and I even mentioned that there's a girl that just pulled up with a horse trailer. This happened last week on Thursday, December 29th. It was a little misty that day. I was on Christmas break, so I wanted to get some steps in. I didn't really expect to see anyone because it's a Thursday, it's a work week. So I went out to St. Joe State Park, and I was pulling in after a truck and trailer, a horse trailer. And it was a girl who had got out, and as she's prepping her horse and stuff, I'm in my car, and I'm getting my things ready also. I look over to see it's her. We don't make any conversation or anything like that, and I start getting my pack and stuff ready. Well, as I mentioned, I didn't say anything to her because I'm always embarrassed to hike with my pack, especially on like shorter hikes, because I'm sure people are like, are you sure you need all that stuff? So no conversation was had, but I did notice her. As I'm getting my pack and stuff ready in the backseat of my car, I see another truck pull up, and it's a guy driving a truck, and he gets out, and I overhear their conversation. She's like, oh my gosh, I thought I'd be the only one here today because it's so yucky. And you can tell by their conversation that she knows this guy, but she didn't expect him to be there that day. So that's worth noting for later in the story. So I'm finishing and I'm getting my things together, get my pack on, and I start my hike. It's a normal hike for me. I did this hike 2 days ago. That's when I posted my first time hiking in the snow. So I had just recently done this trail. However, this time the snow was gone. I had my rain gear on starting off, and I took it off because it got warm. I didn't really vlog that much just because I had just vlogged on the snow hike, and so I didn't have my camera out much. And the hike was as normal until I heard some sirens. And so I will play the video that I posted originally on Facebook, and it will go into detail as to what I heard and experienced, and then I'll talk a little bit about some after effects. I heard sirens a while ago, and now I'm walking up on what looks like a crime scene or something. Holy shit. I went hiking at St. Joe State Park today. The same trail from the other day, the Hickory Ridge Trail. And I'm probably like a mile in, and I start hearing lots of sirens. And they're close. Like, you can tell that they're on like the St. Joe State Park, like the road through the park. And so I'm thinking, like fire truck maybe, cops, ambulance. I don't know. There's like a significant amount. Like, the sirens were loud. And I remember thinking, like, I wonder what these animals are thinking about all this noise, like all the sirens. And then eventually the noise stopped and they went on their way. And so I finished the trail, the same trail from the other day. And when you get close to a trailhead, you can start to see like the parking lot. And so as I'm coming out, I see that all of these cops are in the parking lot where I parked at the trailhead. And immediately I know that something bad has happened. And so I'm walking closer and I see like yellow caution tape set out like a crime scene. And so I walked to the top of the trailhead, and then like the people around there see that I'm coming out. I'm like, what's going on? And so they start asking me questions like who I saw, what time I got there, and took my information. Because a body had been found. So needless to say, I'm a little shooken up. But I just want everyone to know that it's not me. I'm okay. But it was traumatic to say the least. So in that video, you can see to the left side, the yellow caution tape it's right there at the trailhead. It reminded me of all the Dateline episodes I had ever watched, all the crime scene shows I had ever watched. It just was so laid out in that manner. And then to see all those cops in the parking lot where my car was very scary. I think it's important to know at this point, I had walked out and I saw Horse Girl's trailer, and all my mind could think is that guy who she wasn't expecting to be there today had murdered her. Like, I just knew that that's what had happened. It was the girl horse rider, and that guy came, and I started walking and he murdered her. That's all my brain could think. And so when I'm telling the cops this information, I'm trying to go into so much detail about like her and like what I saw, and I think I'm being so helpful. And he asked like what time I got there, and I pull up my text to my parents. I'm like, I got here at this time, and I'm detailing her and so much, and I'm telling about her horse, and I just feel like I'm trying to be so helpful while also like not trying to look like a suspect at the same time, because you know, in those Dateline and crime scene shows, like everyone's a suspect at this point. And I'm walking out onto, you know, what I think is like a hiker attack or a hiker murder, and I'm on scene. I have trekking poles, I have my neck knife. Like, that's intimidating because I don't want to appear as if I have any connection or tie to it. So I was scared in that sense too. All my brain could think is that that's what had happened, that it was him who killed her, and I had just been there, and I just mentally, it was so hard to think about that. I don't know, maybe I could have prevented it, or I could have taken his picture or something along those lines, because in my mind, that's what had happened. I had already convinced myself that that's who it was, that's what it was. In those moments, I didn't think to ask the cops, you know, is it a boy, is it a girl? Did it just happen? Like, I was so concerned with not looking suspicious, but also wanting to be helpful with my information. Like, and maybe I didn't want to know those answers at the time. Like, I didn't think to ask. It was scary, it was intimidating, it was emotionally overwhelming, because not only are the people there on scene by the caution tape and where you come out, but in the parking lot there were so many law enforcement officers, and like, I don't know if they're cops or, I mean, what all these people are, but there's cars and there's lights, no sirens are on, but there's these groups of people just staring at me because I've just walking out onto this scene. And I remember feeling so judged as I walked to my car, because I'm visibly shaken. And in my mind, I'm thinking that these people think like I'm a suspect, or like, what's this girl doing in the woods with this big pack on such a short hike? And none of them say anything to me as I walk past them. Like, I don't know what they would say, but I felt so ostracized. No, so I got in my car and I called my mom immediately and was so overwhelmed, and I just needed her to find out as quickly as possible who it was, because I couldn't shake the thought of it being that girl. Like, I was just so certain that it was that girl that I saw earlier, and I just needed to know, who it was. So later on, I was texted and notified that it was not an attack on a hiker or anyone who had intentions of being on that trail. I will post the Daily Journal article in the description box below if you want to read more. Unfortunately, it was a girl that I had went to school with. She was an upperclassman, and still very heartbreaking. I want to be respectful to the family, but also express in my story that at this point I felt relief in that sense that it wasn't an attack on a hiker or a murder on a hiker, just because it was a trail that up to that point I had frequented. Reflecting back to that video that I had posted to Facebook, I've just been dwelling on it since, and I've thought to myself, like, why exactly did I post that? Or why exactly did I feel the need to put that out there? And I had a couple thoughts run across my mind. First of all, I was in shock, but again, in that moment, thinking that it was that girl who just got murdered, the horse girl, in my mind, there's already a headline like in what's going on in St. Francis County, or like on the news, like local hiker murdered at St. Joe State Park. And in my mind, like, I had just been there 2 days before, and I'm like, people are going to think this is me. And so in a way, I guess I thought putting it out there would put people at ease, when in reality, like, I don't know that the news broke like that, because again, it wasn't the scenario or what I had thought had happened. So I did take that video down after a little bit. I guess once my emotions had subsided and I found out the situation, it was so emotionally overwhelming. But I did want to make this video just to document my experience, because I am vlogging my through hike journey, and this is unfortunately part of it. And I wanted to explain the video, why I put it up, why I took it down, and to clarify maybe some things that were left unsaid on my part, or things that I wanted to share because I didn't feel like you got the full perspective from my side. A question that I've gotten since then is, was I the one to find the body, and did I see the body? And so I still want to be very respectful to the family of the girl. I'm so sorry that this happened and you went through it. But to answer those questions, I wasn't the one to find the body, and at no point during my questioning and when I walked up to the trailhead did I see the body. I don't even remember necessarily looking in that direction, other than when I walked up and initially saw the tape. Going forward, I have a little bit of anxiety about getting back out in the woods by myself. It's because up to this point I have felt pretty confident in myself and my abilities, and so for something like this to happen, I'm not going to say that it's making me second guess myself and my decision to through hike, but it's definitely weighed heavily on my mind. It's not something that just happened and I haven't thought of since. I've thought about it each day since then. And, things can happen to you in town. Things can happen to you at work, at school, the grocery store. Things can happen when you're driving. And so knowing that things could happen at any moment in your life, I don't want to box myself in, and I don't want to limit myself because of fears, because fears can hold you back. And fears can keep you in a box. And fears can keep you from reaching your potential or chasing your dreams. So to close out this video, I just want to say thank you to the people who reached out to me on that day and have checked on me since then. And I appreciate your support and your encouragement to still attempt my through hike and not let this experience hinder me in any way. And once again, I just want to offer my condolences to the family of the girl that was found. We are all thinking of you, and we hope you find peace at this time.